Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into some of the most profound prophecies and guidance in Islamic tradition, all centered on one of the greatest trials humanity is said to face, the coming of the Dajjal, the great deceiver. Okay, let's just start right here, because this one question, it really gets to the absolute heart of the matter. The sources aren't just there to give us a timeline to watch. The whole point, the real reason for this knowledge, is about preparing ourselves spiritually. It all comes back to you asking yourself that same question. What have I prepared for it?
Now, when you're dealing with a topic this huge, the sources warn us about falling into two major traps. On one side, you have delusion. People getting completely swept away, making wild claims and losing touch with reality. But on the other side, you have total despair, just believing it's all hopeless, giving up, and checking out. The real path, the one we're guided to, is somewhere in the middle, balanced, practical, and grounded in knowledge.
So what are the actual signs that are supposed to come before this massive trial? Well, the source material points to a period of really intense and actually very specific turmoil, both political and economic, that kind of sets the stage for everything that's to come.
And what's so fascinating here is just how specific these prophecies are. They don't just talk in vague terms about the East or the West. No, they pinpoint 3 exact regions where armies and major military campaigns will start to organize. Sham, which is the historical region of Syria, Palestine, Jordan and Lebanon, Yemen, and Iraq. These are the flashpoints we're told to watch.
And right alongside the military crisis, we're told to expect a parallel crisis, a severe economic collapse. It's mentioned that these same regions, Iraq, Sham, and also Egypt, will basically stop their wealth from flowing out. And this could be for a couple of reasons. Either because of outside forces, like sanctions, or because of total chaos from within.
So the prophecies then lay out this incredible sequence of events, almost like a domino effect. It starts with the flourishing of Jerusalem, which many interpret as it becoming the political center of the world. That's followed by the desolation of Medina, not necessarily its physical destruction, but the loss of its political power. This instability then spills over into a great war, which is followed by a major conquest, and all of that culminates in the physical arrival of the Dajjal.
And the spark that lights the fuse for that great war, it's described in incredible detail. It's said to happen right after Muslims and a Western power, called the Romans in the text, win a battle together against a common enemy. But then there's a dispute over who gets the credit, symbolized by one side raising a cross. This act is seen as a betrayal, the treaty is broken, and it explodes into this massive, world-changing war.
After all this war and chaos, right before the Dajjal actually appears, the world is prophesied to go through 3 unbelievably tough years. This period is marked by a global famine, a test that's going to push humanity to its absolute breaking point. So you have to ask, right? In a time of extreme starvation, what could possibly be the food for the believers? And the answer we're given is amazing. It's not physical food, it's spiritual. It's the remembrance of God, saying there is no God but God, God is greatest, glory be to God, and all praises for God. It's this spiritual nourishment that's going to sustain them when all material things have failed.
Okay, so the world is reeling from war and starvation. The stage is perfectly set. And this leads us right to the climax of it all, the ultimate test of faith, when the great deceiver himself finally arrives in person.
And look, the sources are absolutely crystal clear on this. This isn't just another tough time. The trial of the Dajjal is described as the single greatest, most deceptive, and most difficult trial that humanity will ever face, from the very beginning of time until the very end. His deception isn't going to happen all at once. It's a gradual thing. He'll start by claiming to be a prophet, a righteous man, a guide. And once he's built up a following with that claim, he'll make his final, ultimate move. He'll claim to be God. And get this, he's going to seem like he has the power to back it all up. He'll make the sky rain for those who follow him and cause drought for those who don't. He'll perform what looks like the greatest miracle of all, killing a man and then bringing him back to life. He'll even have devils that can take the form of your dead parents telling you to follow him. His deception will be powerful, it'll be convincing, and it'll be deeply personal. But we are told that the 2 holy cities, Mecca and Medina, will be protected from him. He won't be able to enter them.
And here's a huge part of the test. Everything is flipped upside down. He's going to present people with a choice between his paradise, which will look beautiful and inviting, and his hellfire, which will look terrifying. But the prophecies warn us,
His paradise is the real hellfire, and his hellfire is the real paradise. What looks like an easy reward is a trap, and what looks like suffering is actually your salvation.
So when you're faced with a deception that powerful, that convincing, what can you possibly do? What's the solution? Well, the sources don't just leave us hanging in the dark. They give us a very clear, very actionable spiritual shield. The number one defense we're given isn't a physical weapon. It's not some secret strategy. It's knowledge. Specifically, memorizing and, more importantly, deeply understanding the first 10 verses of a chapter in the Quran called Surah Al-Kahf, which means the cave. So why that specific chapter? What's so special about it? Well, it's seen as the perfect spiritual antidote. Because the Dajjal's whole game plan, it isn't random. It's a massive test designed to hit us where we're most vulnerable in 4 key areas of our lives: our faith, our wealth, our knowledge, and our power. And this is where the divine wisdom is just incredible. Surah Al-Kahf has 4 main stories, and each story is a direct lesson that counters one of the Dajjal's 4 big trials. The story of the young men in the cave, that's your shield for the trial of faith. The man with 2 gardens, that's for the trial of wealth. The story of Moses and Khidr gives you the shield for the trial of knowledge. And the story of the great King Zulkarnain is the shield for the trial of power. Okay, so let's boil this all down. What's the key takeaway here? How do these ancient stories become a real, practical shield for us today? It really breaks down this simply. When the Dajjal attacks your faith by claiming to be God, your shield is good company, sticking with other believers. When he tempts you with wealth, your shield is humility and knowing where real wealth comes from. When he tries to dazzle you with his worldly knowledge and miracles, your shield is seeking true divine wisdom. And when he uses absolute power to rule the world, your shield is to use whatever little power you have for justice and for good.
So in the end, what all of this is telling us is that preparing for this great trial isn't about sitting around and waiting for some future event. It starts right here, right now, by looking inside. The Dajjal's entire system is built on rewarding what the world calls success. So the real preparation begins with a simple but profound question we have to ask ourselves every single day. Whose definition of success are you living by? The world's or your faith's?